Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is my second half of my Summerween experience, I guess. If you saw in those first few clips, I tried out a chapter or two of two books that are on my TBR for Summerween and one book that is not. There are prompts for Summerween if you want to play along that way. I'm not playing along that way, I'm just doing what I want to do. But I read a couple chapters of You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I also have the physical copy of this, and it's not grabbing me like I thought it was going to. I just finished chapter 3, so I'm like 20% in. So we'll see. I'm not giving up. Not me throwing my Kobo across the room. I just expected to be sucked in faster, but I was also reading it while we were outside, so I was, had a lot of distractions, so that might have been part of it. I also read the first chapter, which is more like a prologue of Scary Stories for Young Foxes, The City. I read book 1 a couple years ago, and that one's called Scary Stories for Young Foxes. And even though this is middle grade, that first book was kind of creepy. The first book was these young fox kits in the forest, and it was like a collection of short stories, and then at some point through the book you realize the short stories are all connected. I imagine this is going to do something similar, just in an urban setting instead of a rural one. It'd have to be a daytime book, because the first one just spooked me out multiple times. But now I am a slasher and horror reader, so I don't know, maybe I'll be fine. And then I also read, I think it was 2 chapters. Yeah, 2 chapters of The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. I don't think this one's going to be too super spooky. We really just got introduced to the cast of characters. So we have Carlotta, who lives in the Yucatan Peninsula with her father, who is a Frenchman. She doesn't know who her mother is, and her father has a lab and conducts experiments. So it's based on the classic The Island of Dr. Moreau, and just expanding on it. In this one, we're switching perspectives between Carlotta, Moreau's daughter, and Montgomery, who is being hired on as an overseer / assistant for Dr. Moreau. So when we start off, Carlotta is only like 14. I'm assuming she's going to age quite a bit, but especially for what I've heard about this book, I hope she ages quite a bit, because otherwise, ugh. I don't think I said, but this one in the prologue, it's these 3 fox kits who find an adult fox in the woods, and they think the adult fox is dead, and then he wakes up and is like, no, something really horrible happened to me, and I have to tell you so that you will be safe from the thing that got me. So that's where I'm at with my Summerween TBR. I don't know, I'm not super hooked on anything just yet. Nothing like really grabbed me and was like, yes, you must read me. The only other book I have on my TBR is The Only Good Indian by Stephen Graham Jones, and I know I am not ready for Stephen Graham Jones. So I need a break after the roller coaster of my first 2 books for Summerween. But this is it for today, and I do have to work again today and in the afternoon, and we're going to a summer concert in the park that's free after I get off work, and my husband's on a work trip, so it's just us doing our things. So I'll update as I go, but I think the second half of this will be a little less chaotic than the first vlog was. Fingers crossed. Good morning, friends. I think this is very terrible lighting, but my hair is wet because I got out of the shower not that long ago, but it is day something of Summerween. I don't know. It's Wednesday, whatever day Wednesday is. My reading has turned into a little bit of a situation. I don't know what happened. I started so many books yesterday. I do that sometimes when I'm not quite sure what I want to read next, and I'm just trying to find something that's going to catch my interest. I tend to start too many books and then we have a problem. I'm reading The Pillow Book. This is not for Summerween. This is just the classic that I am reading very slowly in July. And this is also on my self-destructing TBR, and it's from like, it was written by a Japanese noblewoman or courtwoman, gentlewoman in Japan, and she lived in like, she's approximately born in 966 and died in 1017. So, is old. And then I also read the first short story in Tangleroot Palace by Marjorie Liu. This is by the author of the Monstrous series, and I've had this on my shelf for a long time. I wish I could figure out what I'm doing with my hair. So it's short stories, so I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to read last night. And oh no, my youngest was having a hard time falling asleep, and I needed something on my Kobo that wasn't scary while I sat with them in their room. And so I read the first chapter of this, but on my Kobo, but I also have a physical copy. I've only read the prologue, but I have this. I read to chapter 4 of this yesterday, and then I'm like 40% of the way through Daughter of Dr. Moreau. So I guess technically I'm currently reading The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. This is the one I'm like routinely, that's not helpful. This is the one I'm routinely picking up, and I don't know how I feel about it. I'm definitely wondering why it's a Hugo finalist. I've definitely read sci-fi and fantasy that so far is better. Even though this is like, maybe not a retelling of The Island of Dr. Moreau, maybe an expansion or an extension, but even though that's what it's based on, it's reminding me a lot of Wuthering Heights, just in that it's this girl who's really isolated and sheltered and living with a caregiver who isn't really attentive, but then is also like attentive in, the wrong way, but in ways that aren't great, and is really controlling. And there's this person that's like brought into their family fold, and like, I'm not so sure about him. Like, he's technically employed by her father, but I don't know. I'm getting Heathcliff vibes. Not like he is Heathcliff, but it's just giving me that same feeling. And I hated reading Wuthering Heights so much. I hated that book. I rage read pretty much all of it, and I read it as an adult. I didn't read it for school, and I hated it. So I don't hate this, but I just, I don't know. And it's not that interesting so far. The chapters alternate between Carlotta and Montgomery, but there's overlap. So you get, like, Montgomery's chapter will be something that happened, and then you'll switch to Carlotta's scene, and it'll start either like right before or right in the middle of the thing that Montgomery experienced, and then you get Carlotta's perspective. A lot of repetition because you're getting events from both of their sides, but the way that Moreno Garcia writes, like, I can get what Montgomery and Carlotta feel about each situation, even when it's not from their perspective. So I don't know that that overlap was necessary, and it's not directly boring, but like borderline boring. So I don't know. I just don't know. And like, this is my first Moreno Garcia book, so it's gonna be a bummer if I don't like it, but I don't know. There's always one Hugo that doesn't work for me. And I've read all the other Hugos, so, well, there's another one that wasn't my favorite, so, but this I think might be the one that really doesn't work for me. Well, I guess that's our reading update for Summerween, and I'm not hooked with any of these. which feels a little bit like of a letdown after the first 2 books. I could probably pick up that Stephen Graham Jones and be super sucked in, but I'm not sure if that's the vibe I want. I think my kids actually want me to pay attention to them and not be sucked into my horror book. We'll see. No, not we'll see. They definitely want me to pay attention to them and not be sucked into a horror book. So I think for today, I'm going to keep, well, I think I'm going to alternate between The Daughter of Dr. Moreau and You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight during daytime hours. I have this on audio. I don't have this on audio. I do have this on E because it was available from my library. And then I think The Tangleroot Palace, I'll save this for like a bedtime book. Like I'll read a short story, and then I'm reading about 10 pages of this a day. And this is also this is my like right before bed book, like once I'm in bed, because it mellows me out super quick. All right, yeah, so that is my state of the reading update. And tomorrow's my birthday. My boss agreed to cover my classes for me in the morning so I don't have to work. Everybody else in my life has to work, but I have the day off, so I don't know what the kids and I will do. But then we're gonna go have dinner at my mom's house, and my birthday is usually pretty low-key, but I love my birthday. It's the best day of the year, and I'm really excited for it. But today's just a normal day, so I'm gonna go eat breakfast and I have to go to work, and I think we're gonna go to the library because what else would we do? Hello friends, happy day 7 of Summerween. Daughter of Dr. Moreau has really slowed my speed down, but today is extra exciting because it's also my birthday, and I just got done at the gym, so I'm kind of like a sweaty mess, but it felt so good to just go put on my headphones. I split the time between podcasts, and then I listened to another chapter of Daughter of Dr. Moreau, and then I got on the elliptical and I watched YouTube. Watched some more Summerween content because I'm obsessed, and so that was good. I'm gonna go pick up my free coffee from Starbucks, which is also great, and yeah, I just think it's gonna be a good day. What is not a good time is Daughter of Dr. Moreau. It's not like I'm not hate reading it and I don't like it, but it's a step above apathy. So I don't know. Does that make sense? Probably not, because it doesn't even make sense to me. So if it doesn't make sense to me, I don't know how it could make sense to anybody else. So this is about Carlotta, daughter of Dr. Moreau, who has grown up in her father's home, which poses as a sanatorium, but is really Moreau's lab where he creates these hybrids, which are people that he's spliced together using animal DNA and human DNA. And so they're, they walk on 2 feet, they speak, they do all the things humans do, but then they have the physical characteristics of various animals. And Moreau's research is funded by another man, and the book opens when Carlotta's like 14, when this man named Montgomery is brought by the funder to act as like the major domo for the estate, the hacienda, I guess. And then we skip ahead to when Carlotta is 20, and that financier's son and his cousin stumble upon the house, and the son
is like immediately attracted to Carlotta, and they end up staying and accidentally discovering that the hybrids are there. And then it ensues. So there's a little bit of like a weird, not a love triangle, but like Eduardo's interested in Carlotta, and then once Eduardo shows he's interested in Carlotta, suddenly Montgomery is interested in Carlotta. But here's the thing, Montgomery is like 15 years older than Carlotta and met her when she was 14, and it's gross. It is gross. I don't like it at all. And this is where it's giving me Wuthering Heights vibes, because it's like Montgomery has got kind of like, I don't know which one of them is Heathcliff. Like both of them could be obsessive, weird people, but like Montgomery's got a little bit of a drinking problem. He's got a pretty trauma-filled past, and I don't know, he's just being weird about this girl that is so much younger than he is. And it's giving me Heathcliff vibes. But then Eduardo's not great either, because he's super jealous and he's controlling and he just wants Carlotta. That's the thing. All these men just want Carlotta to do what they want her to do, and nobody is like, and I get it's a time period. I don't get it. I get it. Still don't like it. So that's where I am. I'm like 71%. So apparently I'm finishing this book. There's always, so the reason I'm reading this, I thought it was going to be more horror. It's not. This is also said that it's sci-fi so far. I don't think the hybrids count as sci-fi. It is not. It's just not there. It's just not. But there's always a Hugo book. Oh, that was my point. I'm also reading this because it's a finalist for the Hugos. Sun is in a really awkward spot. And I always read the Hugos. And so that's why I'm reading it. But there's always a Hugo that is not for like genre people. It's like written for literary fiction readers who want to say they have read genre fiction. So that's how I felt about, oh, what was it last year? I can't remember last year, but there's one year. So my first year, that book was 10,000 Doors of January. Like that I feel like is a book that I know fantasy readers like it and have loved it, but I feel like it's a fantasy book that you can give to like a literary fiction reader and it will draw them in. I feel that way about the Andy Ware book that I didn't like. Can't remember what it's called. Project Hail Mary. I feel, you know, there's lots of books. And this year, I thought that book was going to be Babel. But Babel's not on the short list. So apparently, Daughter of Dr. Moreau is that book this year. So, anyways, how do we feel about reading vlogs where the person doesn't like the book? All right, my coffee is now ready, so I'm gonna go pick it up and extra caffeinate. I don't think I need the caffeine, but here we are. And yeah, see what else the day has in store. Okay, y'all, but what am I doing? I had no business getting a venti. What's the matter with me? Okay.
All right, I finished it. 2 stars. I don't know. The ending got super action movie-ish, which I didn't love. Like, there's a lot of like pistols and shotguns, and I don't know. It just got very like action movie, fight it out. And then the ending was kind of saccharine, and I didn't love that. And then the afterword, Moreno Garcia talks about the Castor of Yucatan, and how that was like the backdrop, and that would have been so much more interesting than what this was. So that's disappointing, especially for my first like Silvia Moreno Garcia. I'm bummed. So that's done, and I am going to move on to You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, which I read 4 chapters of the other day, or I'm on chapter 4. And I wasn't super hooked into that, but it's a bright sunny day, obviously. So I'm hoping that will be a good time and not too scary. And yeah, but I definitely need to wash off the stank of a 2-star read. All right, we're at my parents' house for dinner and dessert, but I wanted to do a quick update on You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. I'm on chapter 10 out of 15, and there's been no slasher rating yet in this book. So I don't know what we're doing. The real slow burn of a slasher, and I don't think I'm gonna finish it tonight because I definitely can't read it once I get home because it'll be dark. But I will most definitely finish it tomorrow. So I'm gonna let this vlog go past the end of Summerween so that I can finish another book and then have this vlog be a little less sad. And yeah, that's the plan. All right, my mom got strawberry rhubarb pie for my birthday, which is my favorite pie because I don't like cake. And I'm gonna go in and pester her and see if I can get my pie. Good morning, friends. Okay, finished it this morning and it was good. I liked it. It's super slow burn. So like, it's just suspense building for like 60% of the book, and then the last 40% is all action. But I liked the ending a lot. So I also think I've been misrepresenting myself. I've always believed I was kind of a wimp when it comes to this stuff because I can't do horror movies. Like visual imagery and like auditory sounds are really hard for me to let go of. I hang on to them for a really long time, even if I don't want to. And so I just can't do scary movies hardly at all. Every once in a while there's an exception, but in general, it's not for me. And I always thought that kind of would apply to horror books as well. But I wasn't scared reading this. And I don't know if it's because the book isn't scary or just because I am maybe not as big of a baby as I thought I was. So, things to think about. Continuing to reevaluate who I am as a reader. But I did finish it, which means that is a wrap on my Summerween. And it was so fun. With the exception of Daughter of Dr. Moreau, I had such a good time reading this week. Like I really enjoyed the horror that I picked up, and I'm so excited to keep reading horror, I guess, this year. And I'm really excited for next year. So if you have made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me. I hope you had fun following my horror journey this week. And I'll link my first Summerween reading vlog down below if you missed that and you want to check that out. And yeah, let's see, do we want to do an emoji? I don't know. Leave a knife emoji in the comments, and I will talk to y'all in the next one.